You know, on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we rightly remember the powerful speeches and the historic marches. But there's this crucial piece of Dr. King's dream that doesn't always get the spotlight, and that's housing. For him, it wasn't just another issue. It was the foundation of everything. So let's dive into why.
See, Dr. King knew that a house was never just about four walls and a roof. It was about putting down roots. It was about building a foundation of stability, Creating a place where a family could actually grow without that constant fear of being uprooted.
And right on the heels of that stability comes the next essential piece: safety. And I don't just mean physical safety from the weather, but the safety to plan for the future, to raise your kids in a place they know, and to just feel secure in your own little corner of the world.
And finally, this is what it all builds towards: human dignity. The simple, powerful idea that every single person deserves a safe, stable place to call home. It's a fundamental acknowledgement of a person's worth. Stability, safety, dignity, these weren't just abstract ideas for Dr. King. They were real, tangible goals.
So when you put all those together, they form the bedrock for something so much bigger: generational progress. A secure home gives one generation the foothold they need to help the next one climb even higher. But here's something that is absolutely critical to understand. For decades, housing was, well, it was never a neutral thing. There were powerful systemic forces that actively decided where people could and couldn't live. It made the simple act of choosing a home way more complicated than it should have been.
And just think about what that really means. A single address suddenly becomes this hub that determines pretty much everything else: the quality of the schools your kids go to, your access to good jobs, the safety of your neighborhood, and a family's ability to build any kind of wealth. Housing wasn't just one factor, it was the starting point for everything else.
And this gets to the heart of what Dr. King understood so clearly. You cannot separate civil rights from economic justice. It's impossible. They're completely intertwined. The fight for equality had to include the fight for fair access to a home.
Okay, so let's build on that and look a little closer at what a home truly represents. We're going to move beyond the physical building and really get into its deeper role in a family's journey.
You can kind of break down the power of homeownership into three pillars. First, it starts with consistency, that stable foundation for life. Then, that consistency allows for leverage. The home becomes an asset that can help fund an education or start a business. And together, those two pillars make the ultimate goal possible: generational growth. It's about creating a legacy that doesn't get reset to zero with every new generation.
And that's exactly why, for so many families, owning a home was seen as the first real concrete step toward building some lasting, long-term security. It was the anchor in what could be a really stormy economic sea. This is why it mattered so deeply then, and honestly, why it still matters so much now.
Now, of course, we live in a different time. The legal landscape has changed, thankfully. We have fair housing laws on the books, but that doesn't mean the story just ends there. The ripple effects of the past are absolutely still with us.
You can see the connection so clearly here. The explicit systemic barriers of the past created these ripple effects that we still see today in the different opportunities and challenges that different communities face. And look, understanding this isn't about assigning blame. Not at all. It's about having awareness, because that awareness is what allows us to make better, more informed decisions from here on out.
So what's the big takeaway for us right now? It's really about shifting our whole perspective. It's about seeing real estate as more than just a series of transactions and seeing it instead as an act of community stewardship.
In stewardship, that just means we have a responsibility. Whether we're homeowners, agents, or just members of a community, we're all overseeing and protecting something really precious: the health and the equity of the places we live. It completely elevates the conversation from just buying and selling to building and caring. On a day of reflection like this, the goal isn't just to think about the market or property values. The real focus is to reconnect with that fundamental why. Why does access to housing matter so much in the first place? Well, it matters because of stability, safety, and dignity. It's that simple. And all of that leaves us with this one big, forward-looking question. Dr. King's work was all about building a better future. Today is a day for reflection on that legacy, for sure. But tomorrow, the work of building continues. So the question for all of us is, what kind of just, equitable, and strong communities will we choose to build?